When does the Tinker test apply to student speech? Imagine you're in school and want to wear a shirt with a message. Or maybe you want to express an opinion during a school event. Do you know when your school can limit what you say or do? That's where the Tinker test comes in. It helps decide if schools can restrict student speech or if your rights are protected. The Tinker test comes from a case in 1969 called Tinker v. Des Moines. The Supreme Court ruled that students do not lose their First Amendment rights at school. The court said schools can only limit speech if it causes a big problem. That problem is called material and substantial disruption. If your speech interrupts classes or school activities in a serious way, the school can step in. The test applies mostly to speech on school property like classrooms, hallways, or school events. It also applies to some off-campus speech, especially if it connects to school activities or affects the school environment. For example, if a student posts something online that causes chaos at school or hurts other students, the school might be allowed to regulate that speech. But if the speech is just controversial or unpopular, the school cannot restrict it unless it causes a real disruption. The Tinker test has two main rules. First, the school must show that the speech causes a material and substantial disruption. This means the disruption has to be clear and serious, not just a little inconvenience. Second, the school can restrict speech if it invades the rights of other students. That could mean physical interference or forcing someone to say something against their will. But just making others uncomfortable or angry is not enough for the school to limit speech. There are limits to the Tinker test. Schools can restrict speech that is obscene or disruptive in other ways. They can also limit speech that promotes illegal activities or is part of school-sponsored programs. If students participate in extracurricular activities, they might have to follow additional rules or agreements about speech. Knowing when the Tinker test applies helps students understand their rights. If you want to speak out at school, ask yourself if your words will cause a serious disruption or invade someone's rights. If not, your school probably cannot limit what you say. Even online speech can be protected if it does not directly affect school operations. But if it does, the school might have a reason to act. This test is important because it protects your freedom to express yourself. Schools cannot silence students just because they disagree or because the message is controversial. As long as your speech doesn't cause a big problem or hurt others' rights, you have the right to share your views.